What's up everybody, welcome back to another build video. Guys, you are not ready for this toxicity, and I'm not referring to your ex. my bad. Back to the build, guys, focus. I am referring to this masterpiece of a build. Are you guys seeing this in the background? The boss just disintegrates, man. I mean, what the hell is this damage? And we didn't even use the nebula stack here. I have good ideas here and there, but this one, guys, this one really surprised me when I tested it. And it's not only good for boss DPS, guys, it's also super powerful on the world clear as well. We did ×5 corrosion on this poor thing. Look at how he melted. You just need to one-tap them once with your mod active or swing one time with your melee and everything just disintegrates in front of you. We're gonna do one more boss, guys, together, and after that we're gonna watch the build breakdown. And after the build breakdown I will have many boss kills for you guys so you can watch and enjoy this beautiful build Disintegrate Apocalypse bosses. On to the boss now. Look at this guy. This poor thing has elemental resist on it. It doesn't even matter, guys. It's not easy to apply ×5 corrosion on every boss, but it's fairly easy to have 4 or at least 3 stacks. And how you do it? You get 2 stacks from your gun, one comes from the corrosion rounds, another comes from fetid wounds when you hit crit spot damage or crit, and the third one comes from a ring that we are using. And that's 3 stacks just using your gun, guys. And then on top of that we are adding tainted blade on our melee so we can swing and apply corrosion as well. And on top of that we also use the nebula, which can apply plus 2 stacks of corrosion, one from the primary shot and the other one from the mod. The mod does not show when you use it, but it's there, guys. So we are talking about ×6 corrosion here. And now for the build breakdown, I will start with the archetypes first. We are using Archon and Summoner, and the reason why is because corrosive rounds and the nebula mod scales of mod damage, guys. So we're gonna need as much mod power damage and mod power regeneration as we can possibly have. For our skill, I'm using Chaos Gate for that sweet 15% extra damage. This skill is not for everyone. Some people don't like to stand in one spot to do damage because it's more risky, but I don't see a reason why Reality Rune should be played here because you are just one-shotting everything. And for our summoner, I found out that these little guys are the ones that bother you the less. And now for our amulet, we are using the Effluvium Enhancer. I hope I said that right. The reason, I think, is very self-explanatory. And then we're gonna use the Red Ring of Death. This one will allow us to add another stack of corroded to the enemies. And then we're gonna use the Band of the Fanatic. This will increase our corroded damage by 25%, but will reduce our duration. We don't care though, because we reapply it very easily with our machine gun. And then here I'm using Burden of the Destroyer. People would say Shadow of Misery replaced with Burden of the Destroyer, so we don't get that reduced on range for our weapons. But guys, remember, we are dealing damage with our mods, our gun, our machine gun, our melee and the summons as well. If we use Shadow of Misery, we will not get all these other parts boosted. I think the 25% penalty for our machine gun is not that big of a deal if we can boost everything in our kit with this ring. And then of course we're gonna use Stone of Malevolence to get all of our mods back very easily. Guys, remember, I want to say something. Even if you are out of mods, which will be very often if you activate them both at the same time, after the fight ends you will be out of mods. Remember, you can use your melee. Your melee will apply elemental damage and it will give you your mods back. If you hit weak spots with your machine gun, you will also get elemental damage on them because of the fetid wounds. And now that we spoke about the long gun, we are using corrosive rounds and fetid wounds for our Bone Saw. The reason why I chose Bone Saw is because, first of all, it has a huge magazine that you don't need to ever reload because you can just activate corrosive rounds and it will reload itself. Secondly, the overheat of the gun always reminds me that I have to add another stack of corrosive with my melee. So the one thing that most people don't like about this gun in this build is actually mandatory to remind you to swing once with your melee. And the reason why we want to swing once with our melee is to apply corroded with the tainted blade mutator that we are using. I cannot express enough how satisfying it is to just swing once and the wave just completely annihilates everything in its path. And then last but definitely not least, we have Nebula. On the Nebula, we are using Harmonizer to get that extra 20% damage boost and also regenerate 25% mod power to our machine gun. I also used failsafe for some of the clips that you saw, and it was very effective because sometimes I just got my mod back without doing anything. Failsafe and harmonizer are the best choices. On the hard now, we are using 10% elemental damage boost, 10% mod damage boost, and also 20% range crit damage. The reason why we are doing this is because our bone saw is actually critting a lot because of the fetid wounds. So if we are critting anyway, might as well boost that crit. Alternatives for that mod would be mod duration or more crit chance for our bone saw, so we can apply faded wounds more often from body shots as well. Here on the right you can see the traits, the imported ones for that build. If you use the same armor, you're gonna need 2 points on the strong back. Handling is very nice for our machine gun. Siphoner is very good for that lifesteal. Kinship, so you don't accidentally kill your summons and lose damage, because trust me, even if you one tap them, they will disintegrate. And the rest are just classic fortify, vigor, spirit to have more mod power, of course. Fitness for me is one of the best traits in the game. It lets you reposition very easily, and the rest goes to rugged. I almost forgot to say that armor reserves are also very important here, guys. And that completes our build breakdown. As promised, I have more boss fights for you guys. Enjoy them. This build is really strong and very fun to play. Subscribe if you liked the video. That was all from me, everybody. I will see you at the next one.
I'm just calling to say I